Hello everyone, and welcome back to the devlog about my community builder game that I'm writing in Rust and Bevy. Today we are back with actual game development. It's been 5 months since last real game update, and I can proudly say that I made a lot of improvements since then. None of those updates were big enough to have its own video, so this devlog will work like a summary of my recent work. It is also almost 1 year since I started working on this game. This was my first time writing a proper game project, first time using Bevy, first time using Rust, first time using computer. Anyway, it's nice to see where I am at with the project after 12 months. I managed to collect quite a list of features, so let's start, shall we? Number 1. Lights. Again, I am not an artist, so this is my first 3D game, so imagine my surprise when I learned how simple swap from ambient to directional light changes the look. Instead of flat looking mesh of objects on the left, we have a nice and deep looking scene on the right. I'm still amazed how much a little change can make. This was literally one line of code. Number 2. More variety. For a couple of months I was using just 3 types of buildings and 1 car model in different colors. Finally, at some point I got myself another city asset pack which provided me with banks, hospitals, hotels, news, more houses, police, fire station, and many more. I admit those ones have very little logic added to them yet, but just looking at different models makes the work more interesting. Logic for those buildings coming soon. Number 3. Even more variety, this time in transport. City has now public transport. There are trains going from one station to another. Do you think it was just adding another road type and reusing the logic from the cars to make sure they move correctly? I thought so too, but that wasn't the case. I programmed cars to move from building to building, but trains obviously don't go directly to your home, they don't go directly to your office or even to your bank. In order for trains to move between stations, I had to add new class of building called Hub, which works as, well, transport hub, to which the imaginary commuters travel to and from. In this example scene, you can see that people go first by car, and if they have a connection to their work by train, they will drive to the train station and then go by train to the stop that is the closest to their office. After work is done, they are going to take the same route home. I was working a lot on the commute system, and now the game keeps track of the residents and where they are at any given time. Each small house has 12 people living inside. Each car moves 4 commuters to the station. When train leaves the station, it will take everyone that is currently inside and move them to another stop. When they exit the station, you can see another car taking them to the office. Currently, each resident of the city is very rich, and they can afford having a car at every stop. Or maybe they just take Uber. I cannot really tell. You may ask, okay, then what happens if the railroad is not straight? And to be honest, I don't know. Currently, trains refuse to not go into the straight line. They also don't know that they should change lanes, but on the flip side, they are also not aware of collisions either. Everybody sort of makes it home every day thanks to the power of the video games. Number 4. Better terrain. It was featured in last 2 devlogs I made, and I would rather not talk about it for a while. Let's just agree it looks better. Number 5. Water shader. Replacing static blue plane with moving water shader was a pretty good idea. I used ready Bevy water package, and it does the job perfectly. I'm only slightly worried that the water looks way too good for the low poly style of the game, but I will leave it as it is for now. Number 6. Textures. I decided to add some textures to the terrain so it would look less flat, and I think this just looks better and more interesting. However, as in the water example, I am worried it has a bit too much detail for the low poly style, so I might replace the texture later for some simpler looking ones. Let me know what do you think about it in the comments. Number 7. Structure. I finally added a menu and levels to the game. In the main menu, you can choose between New Game, Load Game, Set Settings or Exit. Normal stuff. You can also see there is a live scene in the background to make it look a bit more exciting. After starting the game, you will see the set of goals to be achieved, and in the end of the level, a new window will pop up which will take you to another one. All of it may seem quite boring, but levers and menu make me feel like I'm actually working on a game and not just rendering scenes with no purpose. Number 8. UI. UI for Bevy is still quite underdeveloped, so I didn't put too much effort into it. I know that one day the whole system will get a proper overhaul. But I picked nicer colors and aligned items properly, I replaced text with icons on the side panel and improved the drop-down lists a bit. It still looks a bit clunky, but it is better than the previous one. Number 9. Sky. Sky and lighting are now changing during the day. Based on the time, the sky will have different color and the light will have different direction and brightness. We can also see stars during the night, which for now I programmed as entities, because I like to make my life harder than it should be. I could have just used a skybox. Number 10. Audio. I admit, not much here except just one song playing in the background, but it just feels good to have the initial setup done for it. There is a volume slider in the settings, which I am sure every Bevy user would appreciate for the amount of effort that went into making it. And yes, that's all for today. As you can see, there were really no major changes, but rather a set of small updates that I could pack into one video. Most of the work went into the improved commute system, some went to the menu structure, transport hubs, some of the changes like audio or light were just a couple of lines of code that made a big difference. So after almost a year of work, I think I found the name for the game, and it will be Small Town Life, as it's supposed to focus on building the happy community of people rather than well-architectured metropolis. So from now on, till I change my mind, I will name the project Small Town Life. Okay, now that is really all for today. Thank you for watching and see you in the next update. Goodbye.